There are two ways to do it. I will use one method for this type of question and a different method for the other type question. You can use both methods for both questions. Why I am doing that, maybe that this will be very easy for you guys. I don't know. You can decide. Okay, as always, we have to do all stoic questions. We have to do the balanced equations. So I'm gonna do the balance equation for this first, okay? So it says lead to iodide produced from lead to nitrate and potassium iodide. So I'm gonna write lead to nitrate is aqueous because you can check the solubility chart, and then potassium nitrate, potassium iodide, that is also aqueous and produce PbI2, that is an yellow precipitate, it's a solid, plus KNO3, and that is aqueous. So it is a reaction and you have to balance that, putting 2 here. So now for doing stoic question, we know that we need either moles or we need grams, or if it is liter, only for gases. But this question, we are not seeing a mole, we are not seeing mass, we are seeing volume, but this is not a gas, so we cannot use liters directly. So first we have to find the moles using this equation. We learned while ago molarity is equal to what? Moles times liter. So moles over liter. So mole will be equal to molarity times liter. So find the moles. Okay, here we know that 1 mole of this needed 2 mole of that. So first we have to look at which is the limiting reactant, or do the 2T charts, find final answer and see it. Okay, so I'm going to start from the first one, which is 50 ml and 0.5 molar. Molar means moles per liter, okay? So go ahead and find the moles of PbNO3 twice. That is the first reactant. So that is molarity times liter. Molarity is 0.5000 moles per liter times 0.0500. Why I wrote that 0? Because to keep the sigfic. Okay, so you will get 0.250 moles of PbNO3 twice. Okay, so then we can continue and do the T chart to find the grams. And I'm going to find the moles of potassium iodide also. Moles of potassium iodide, molarity times liter, which is 75 ml, and 0.750 molar times liter will be 0.750. Okay, so now we realize that the moles of that will be very much higher. That means we don't have the enough potassium nitrate. That means this is the limiting reactant. Okay, so you don't need to do the second chart. You can, if you are comfortable in that, only in that, then do that. I don't care. Okay, so yeah, then look at the equation. 1 mole of PbNO3 twice is produce 1 mole of PbI2. Then 1 mole of PbI2 will be the molar mass 461 grams of PbI2. Okay, when you calculate and write the answer in 3 sigfic, that is 11.5 gram of PbI2. Okay, if you do start with this one, you will get a bigger value like 129 gram. And since we know that this is the lowest amount, so that is the theoretical yield. You can do the T chart. Okay, The second question, I'm going to show you a different method, and whichever one you like, you can follow that. Okay. Next one is a neutralization reaction because it is an acid base. It says calcium hydroxide react with the hydrochloric acid. It will form calcium chloride plus water. Okay, balance equation 2 and calcium hydroxide. So this is a reaction. We know that all neutralization will be a reaction because there is liquid water is a product. Okay. Second. Give me 1 second. Okay, so here also the same type, it is given, molarity given and volume given, but there is only one reactant, so we don't need to decide which one is the limiting reactant. We can directly start. So I'm going to show you only one step for this one. Okay, so because this is a molarity, okay, remember molarity is equal to moles per liter. So if I say 0.40 molarity means it is 0.0 moles per 1 liter. You can use that as a conversion factor. Okay, so we are going to see how much liters are there. Okay, I'm going to start from the liter, which is 350 ml, converting into liter 1 2 3, and there is 2 suffix, so that is 35 liters of HCl. Okay, you can do the previous method I'm saying if you want to use this. Then I'm going to write 1 liter has how much? 0.40. Instead of m, you write moles. That's it. Moles of HCl. Very easy. Then look at the equation. There is 2 moles of HCl needed 1 mole of calcium hydroxide. Then it is asking for the mass, so we have to continue 1 mole of calcium hydroxide is equal to what is the mass of calcium hydroxide from the periodic table. I'll add all of the atoms mass and you will get calcium hydroxide mass and calculate, and the answer is 5.2 gram of calcium hydroxide. Okay, so I told in B-Day like this, and they said they prefer this. I don't know. Whichever method you prefer, you can do this. Okay, so that is the answer. Okay. Okay, next one is the same type of question. It's so I'm skipping that. Third one is a different question because it is asking for volume. Okay, volume of the base solution. Okay, since it is neutralization, there is a direct equation we can use if it is 1 mole to 1 mole. But let's do the same method. I'm not going to teach you different methods. Okay, so phosphoric acid. Okay, phosphoric acid, the formula is, go and write the equation, H3PO4, okay, plus potassium hydroxide. Okay, acid is aqueous, potassium hydroxide base, liter. Okay, so you will get water because it is a neutralization reaction, and potassium phosphate. Okay, well, this will be aqueous and this is liter. Okay, and balance equation, there are 3 potassium, so total there are 6 hydrogen, so that will be 3H2O. Okay. Okay, now we have the balance equations. So we are going to start. I'm going to use this method. Okay, so start the T chart. Convert this into liter first, which will be 0.025. Okay, 4 signific, because that is 4 signific liters of phosphoric acid. and molarity is 1.5 molar. That means 1 liter has 1.50 moles of phosphoric acid. Okay, now look at the mole ratio. It is asking for base volume. So according to the equation, 1 mole of each 3PO4 need 3 moles of KOH, right? And it is asking for volume. Okay, so we have to use this conversion. This is the molarity, that is the moles over liter. That means there is 0.455 moles in 1 liter. So I'm gonna write, this is moles, right? So 0.455 moles of KOH in 1 liter of KOH. So you don't need to stop in between and do the calculation. So this will be doing in one step, right? So you will get the point. We need 4 sick picks, 0.1125 liter. Okay, and if you need to convert that into milliliter, just multiply with 1,000. It's not, sorry, 2. 1 second. So that is, let me calculate. That's not right. Really quick, let me do the calculation. 0.025 times 1.5 times 3. Okay, and divided with 0.455. Okay. Okay, so the answer is 0.247472 because it is 4 sigfig, right? 472 liter, and if you need to convert that into milliliter, that is 247 because multiply with 1,000. 2 milliliter, that is the final answer. Okay, so if you prefer this method, do that. Then there are 2 more questions, basically 3 more questions. You have to complete that by next class. Okay.